This is Adventist World Radio, ARP, Adventist Radio Pretoria, at GAiN 2023. And I'm Saake Botha, and I'm standing here with Pastor Justin Kim from General Conference. He specifically works at Adventist Review Magazine. Is it fine if I call it like that, Pastor?
Yeah, for sure.
Adventist Review Magazine. And my first question, Pastor Kim, is how did it come that you became the new editor-in-chief for AR?
Yeah, I was an editor for the Sabbath School department at the General Conference. Last year, my predecessor took on a new assignment in representing the Seventh-day Adventist Church to the U.S. Congress. And so they were looking for a new editor. So it's been exactly 1 year now in functioning as the editor for Adventist World and Adventist Review magazines.
And how's that 1 year been so far for you?
Yeah, it's been a world of learning, and this, I think the phrase drinking out of a fire hose is appropriate. So there's the editorial process, and that's something that I'm very familiar with. But seeing that this is a worldwide global publication, and so we have different printing presses, different versions all throughout South America, North America, all throughout continental Africa, different versions all throughout Europe. Asia is like another planet, and then Oceania. And getting my hand wrapped around the complexities of that has been a blessing, and sometimes not a blessing, but it's been a privilege to serve.
Wonderful. So it's been a year of learning and growth.
Yes.
And I've seen you've already brought in some new projects, some new direction you're giving to AR. That's Adventist Review for those that don't know. And let's talk a little bit about the rebrand.
Yep.
So you've unveiled the new logo here at GAiN 2023 Africa.
Yep.
What's that about? Why the new logo and why a rebrand?
Yeah. So we have so many wonderful things happening at Adventist Review, but the average church member, the layperson, doesn't know exactly all that's going on. And there is a little bit of brand confusion with Adventist World Magazine, Adventist Review Magazine. We have ARtv, we have the audio, we have a kids magazine, and then there's different versions depending on which country you're from. And so rather than have multiple logos or brands, we wanted to just kind of bring it all in together. And we feel like it strengthens the product and allows people to understand, you know, what they're actually consuming, whether it's the Adventist Review in print, Adventist Review on video, or whatever format it is.
So let's get right into it. Current projects that you're busy with at AR. You shared a little bit about a digitization move.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit more about that for us?
So when it comes to digitization, there are a lot of people who are very nervous. There are those who love their paper, and they will die for their paper, and they will cling to their paper until Jesus comes. And there's others that feel paper is a vestige of history, from before Jesus' time. Why are we even with paper? The reality is, until we get into some drastic change, we're going to have digital and paper together. And we're finding from a lot of the media industries, those who really invest in digital video, digital print, web, social media, and paper together are the ones that really survive. And so we're trying to pivot, and we call it digital first, not digital only, and digital first, and see how in some places paper is the way to go. In other places, digital is the way to go. In other places, it's both. To be ambidextrous is the challenge that we have today.
I like this hybrid model that you're bringing in, serving the old and bringing in the new. I really think it's different in terms of just not doing the drive just for digitization.
Sure.
And
there's also a new push there's a new generation coming in that enjoys the paper. That is a phenomenon,
really?
Because they're living in a completely native digital world, and they see that, wow, this is, there's the tactileness of the paper and the colors, and then you don't need power for this, and you can share it with somebody. They do have higher levels of quality expectations when it comes to paper.
Wow.
But there's still appreciation for the old as well.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And in terms of, there's been a lot of sharing here at GAiN 2023 about AI and machine learning.
Yes.
Is Adventist Review going to also start implementing those tools? in...
For sure. This is not a matter of question of if, but really when. There is a lot of fear when new technologies arise, especially within the church. And the thing is that when it comes to new technologies, those fears are legitimate, but we see in history that as these new technologies rise and are being used, there are safeties or reactions to that also come right afterwards. So for example, when Google first came out, people were afraid about Google. Google will search the whole internet. Google knows everything about you. And there's abuses that can occur through Google. But through time, it gets regulated and some of those things get done away with. That's the way with smartphones, that's the way with the internet, just really everything. So we feel that artificial intelligence, what it can do for the gospel, instantaneous interpretation, translation, and instantaneous transcription. That's only in the print world, but in the video world and in the there's dangers that are fears of the abuses. But as this gets more regulated, there'll be more safeguards put in place, and I think we have the most exciting stages and chapters of the church in the future to yet to see.
Thank you very much for that balanced and holistic view on AI. And I think it's needed in the church because there's people that have questions.
Sure.
And thank you for that. The future of AR, the future of AR and languages.
Yes.
You were talking about AI also helping
yes.
with different languages.
Yes.
Are we going to see more languages, AR coming out in more languages? And how is this also going to be implemented with the digital motif that you're aiming
for? These are all things that we are really wanting to study and see what's the best approach. There's a lot of enthusiasm for AI. There's a lot of enthusiasm for digitization. And there's not as much financial resources to meet the enthusiasm. So we got to temper all this with the resources that we have. But with the AI out there, there is the ability to have instantaneous translation, not only in the major, the European, the macro languages, but also in some of the micro tribal languages. I mean, this is just an amazing time period. It still will require a human being to see if it's completely cogent at the end. But about 85 to 90% of it is, the bulk of it is done. And the crazy thing about AI is every month a new version pops up. And that 85% gets to 93, 94, 97. It's pretty amazing. Our challenge is to keep up with all the AI that's coming out. Yeah.
So in short, are we going to see more languages for AR?
That is the dream. That is the dream.
Excellent. Thank you. There you have it, Pastor Justin Kim. Thank you very much for joining us and talking to us on AR, Adventist Review and Adventist World, and what you got going there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And stay tuned for more great content here on ARP, Adventist Radio Pretoria, and Adventist World Radio. Thanks, Pastor.
Thank you.